So my dad is coming to visit me this weekend. So every day, every like night this week, I've been just like cleaning like one area of my apartment so that I only have to do like, an hour every night as opposed to like 4 hours tonight once we're done recording this.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so last night I deep cleaned my bathroom, which if you've never had the joy of walking into a bathroom completely forgetting that you've cleaned it literally like last night, it's indescribable. I forgot completely that I had cleaned my entire bathroom. So I walked in it at 5:15 this morning and I was like, "Oh shit. Who the fuck did I do this? This is lovely." And that's kind of how I feel about the Vampire Diaries, where like sometimes I forget that it's like a good show and then I'll walk in on an episode and I'll be like, "Oh, who did this? Did you all? Oh, you all did this? That's lovely."
The fact that we subject ourselves to this, the fact that we just go into an episode and we're just flipping a coin on whether or not it'll be okay enough to reach our like bare minimum standards of a good TV show.
The bar is the floor, and sometimes we don't even reach that. So, we're thriving. Is what I'm saying. We're just thriving.
We're just living and thriving and vibing,
Okay, I hate every word of that phrase that you just said, especially that you really you sealed the deal there by rhyming thriving with vibing.
Because they're the same.
Hey, no.
Yeah, they're the same. Thriving and vibing, they're like similar terminology.
V and B are not the same.
They're not the same word.
My
no.
name.
They're not synonyms.
They're not the same letter. They don't make the same sound.
They're not synonyms, no. But what is the one where they have the share the same meaning but aren't the same word? Those are homonyms?
Yes.
They're homonyms.
That's also not what. There are times when I am thriving, but I am definitely not vibing. And there are times when I am definitely vibing, but I am not thriving.
All right. Maybe you're correct. Maybe I was wrong on that one. I take it back, okay? I'm just saying usually when I'm thriving, I'm vibing. And that's all I'm saying. Usually those coincide with one another. I'm not vibing if I'm not thriving. And that's how you should live your life.
God, I hate all of the words we just said. We made words have no meaning. What does thriving mean? What does vibing mean? I just don't know anymore.
Guess what, B? In internet culture and language, nothing means anything. Everything is absurd. And that's just the way of the world online. Sometimes I'll say stuff out of my mouth and I'm like, what did I just say? And then I'm like, oh, next thing. It goes so quick. You go from one word to the next, and you're like, they mean nothing. They have no connection. But for some reason, I decided to say these words out of my mouth, and that is how I live my life day to day.
Just like by saying words out your mouth.
Yeah, and then I hope that it makes sense to the next person. But if it doesn't, that's on me, not on them.
So I just say. Just garbage is what you're saying. And then sometimes if people get it, then we're vibing. Yeah. But if they don't get it, I'm not thriving.
Right. So yeah. Correct.
That's a garbage intro we just did.
Listen, welcome to our garbage show called Afterbite. We're watching a garbage TV show, so you better expect some garbage jokes, all right? That's how this podcast works. You've signed up for this for what, 7 episodes now, if you're still listening? So
this is our 7th episode, yeah.
Yeah. So you should expect literally, you know how you expect the bare minimum from the Vampire Diaries? That's exactly how much you should expect from this podcast.
Hey, what's up? It's episode 7, where we are watching the Vampire Diaries, episode 13 and 14. We're starting off with a good titled episode. This episode 13, is entitled Children of the Damned, which I really like that title, actually.
It sounds very biblical, which I like.
It sounds like a metal album title.
Ooh, You're correct. It also, so are we saying that biblical and metal just go together?
I mean, hey, welcome to my thesis, but yeah, actually. Hey, have you read the Bible? It's hardcore as fuck. They're like, here, locusts, fire, storms. And then metal guys are like, yo, what's up, locusts, fire, storms? And the only difference is the inflection, sweetheart. It's the same thing. Hey.
Wait, is there even a difference in inflection? Have you ever been on a college campus and, you know, those people just like start screaming at you?
Yeah, the preachers,
Yeah, same vibe.
Honestly, yeah, same vibe. Except metal's way more like, do what you do, just don't hurt other people. And then the college preachers are like, you breathed too wrong, go to hell. And so that's the main difference there. But we're not talking about college preachers today. We're talking about the Vampire Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
This episode, the description of this episode is, more Salvatore family secrets are revealed by Damon and Stefan's father, Giuseppe, and Bonnie's date with Ben takes a bad turn. Which, both of those things, while true, massive understatements.
Yeah.
Massive understatements.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Netflix description writer.
Hey, they actually did a good job on this one. They just really, like, kept it low-key when it is pretty high-key.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Good job. We appreciate when you do it correctly, but also it's really funny when you do it incorrectly. So, you know, nice balance.
I also think the phrase Bonnie's date with Ben takes a bad turn sounds a little bit like one of our podcast descriptions. Wait. That sounds like a sentence I would just like write and just like put in there. Because if you haven't realized, I just list like 4 things that we talk about.
Yes. And it's always,
and that's the description.
Honestly, your descriptions are so chaotic. It's like one point, like whenever I read the description, I'm like, how do we get from that point?
I know. It's because I just take all the points we make and then I just throw them in a blender. And whatever comes out, comes out.
And I wonder, like, if people, when they read our descriptions, I feel like they have the same experience that I do, which is like, whoa, that's a lot. And also, how?
There's a lot of ground that you cover there, huh?
Like, but also, wow, your minds, because that's imaginative.
If there's one thing this podcast is, it is imaginative.
Yes.
And I'm rolling up my sleeves because we're about to really dive into this shit.
Yes, let's go.
Let's go. Let's start out by the top point in this episode, where is Catherine Pierce is hot, but Elena Gilbert isn't. And I want science to explain this.
I discussed this before. I literally said this, I feel like, in the beginning when we first met Catherine. How is this I don't understand how they do this.
Like, I know Nina Dobrev is a good actor, but like, damn, girl, you good.
Like, y'all really no. And it's also the costume and makeup department, because sometimes Elena be wearing, what you wearing, girl? What you doing? Like, what was that outfit? But and then Catherine is like in an 1800s dress out here.
And she's killing it.
She got those boobies be really out. They just be out there.
They just be enjoying their time in the sun.
And I'm like, wait, there's this TikTok I saw. I'm bringing back TikTok, right? I started watching TikToks again last night. There's this TikTok I saw where it was one of the lesbian ones. And they were like, am I
okay, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Every time I see someone saying, like, this is one of the lesbian TikToks, it's either the best TikTok I've ever seen or the worst.
Oh, yeah.
So the
agree.
range there is massive.
And that just shows you how TikTok is, because there's so much quantity and so little quality, and you have to just find the quality. But anyways, I was watching this TikTok, and it's just this lesbian, and she's like, am I against the objectification of women? 1,000% yes. Boobies. 1,000% yes.
Us with Catherine Pierce, honestly. It's like, I'm not into objectifying women, but like, damn. Okay. Can we talk about the fact that Damon just kind of like walks into Elena and Stefan while they're canoodling. And
Yeah.
he says the exact phrase, "Stop being smutty." And to this, I start my campaign of, why did we let the Vampire Diaries writers learn the term smut? Why did we let them?
Wait, the author of the original Vampire Diaries books, right? They're not on this. They're not. They're not here at this point. They've gone, right?
I don't know what time they left, but
because
they were never involved in the writing of the show.
Okay, because I was about to say, if they were involved, then I would understand. Maybe they're reading some fan fiction or something. But if I see the word smutty in an actual TV show and it's not written, but the script doesn't come from a fanfic author, I'm gonna start questioning the writing team. It's like when Riverdale said, "We're endgame, Archie. Don't do that shit."
Also, just like, I don't care who the script is by. If you are a fucking grown ass adult and you write the term smutty down on a piece of paper and don't immediately want to gouge your eyes out, I really question you, man. Like, I question you.
Oh my god. Wait.
I listened to that term. I read that term across the subtitles because I was like, just fucking doing anything other than watching the Vampire Diaries. I read that subtitle and I was like, I hate this. And then I had to rewind to like turn up the volume to actually listen to Damon Salvatore say the word smutty, which is as bad of an experience as it sounds like it is.
Another question I have is, how is Elena still at Stefan's house? Does Jenna just let her do whatever she wants? Like, all the time?
Later in like this episode or the next one, Jenna's like, "Stefan, you can't stay over." But she just lets Elena go. Hey! Like, questions. I would rather, if my daughter has a boyfriend and all that boyfriend has is like an older brother in his house, I would much rather the daughter and the boyfriend stay in my house.
Exactly.
So I can cock block from like, I can run interference right then and there. I can't run interference over there.
Like, bad parenting 101. But also, the question is, does she know that she's at Stefan's house? Or has Elena done the elaborate trick that we all know when you tell your friend to say, "Hey, I'm staying over at Bonnie's house tonight." And then you say, Bonnie, I'm staying over at your house tonight, okay? I'm not going to be there, but I'm there. You know, I wonder which one of those is it. Is it Jenna's just trying to be the cool aunt / mom figure? Or is she being tricked by Elena? Because there's no way that she knows that Elena's there. And it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
fuck. What
makes
the fuck,
no
dude?
sense. No sense.
Just what the fuck. There are so many Damon and Catherine parallels with they use like Damon and Catherine and Stefan and Elena pretty much in this episode to like directly like transition to them. And I actually really like the way they've done the transitions to 1980 whatever.
Literally, like, I feel like even in the last episode that had flashbacks, they had really good transitions too. I think they just know what they're doing with their transitions there. It's
really fun. It's a good match.
Yeah. They're right up there with like, I know what I'm doing. I know how to edit. This is what we're doing here, and good on them.
Fucking Anna. So at the end of the last episode, it was revealed that Ben is a vampire and working with Anna. And
she's so savage.
You were so sad and purposeless, so I turned you into a vampire. Damon said the same thing to Vicky. What the fuck is up with vampires? Yes. That they see somebody going through it, and they're like, "I have a solution. Live forever." Like, hey, I don't know if y'all realize how depressive episodes work, but I don't want to live forever. That's kind of the whole point.
The amount of balls she has to just say that to his face. And it's just like,
she's also a much older vampire than he is.
Yeah.
So she can just like slap his ass around.
Also what I found interesting, other than Damon, who turned Vicky, because I forgot about that. It's so interesting that the majority of the turnings on this show has been by women. Like, Anna turned Ben, Catherine turned Damon and Stefan. Like, I'm just like, whoa, that's insane. It's like, I don't know if it feels like kind of empowering in a sense, I guess. Because they're like,
Yeah.
Because they're like,
Okay.
here's my take on it.
Mm-hmm.
They're vampires. They're supposed to be like these, I guess, like powerful beings who are very like I can kill you if I want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're
And
correct.
and
That's how it works.
the fact that they're like just like, oh, I can turn you and you, and I don't care anything about your feelings, how you feel, whatever. Like I'm gonna do whatever I want. And it kind of feels like that kind of empowering, you know what I mean? Where it's just kind of like a woman can basically,
Be a really good bad guy, which
yeah.
I think is kind of the opposite of empowering, but I also kind of like it. I'm not sure how to feel about it.
Hmm.
It is like an interesting point though, and I think it is something that you, Jordan, should specifically keep an eye on as we continue down this road,
Okay.
because I'm thinking of a few other instances, and there are a lot of women who turn people into vampires.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting.
There's a few big
Interesting.
ones, but yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about it now. You got me thinking. You got the gears in my brain turning.
They're working up there.
They're working their ass off, dude. You got no idea. Alaric has
Hmm.
the journal. And he
Yeah.
pops into this episode for like 5 minutes. And he does the smartest thing I think we've seen anybody do on this show. He makes a copy.
Yeah.
That's
Smart.
smart.
Very smart.
And then he leaves that copy in an unlocked locker, which is
Um,
not smart.
here's the
Hey,
thing.
Alaric.
Here's the question I got
Mm-hmm.
for that
Mm-hmm.
locker. Who does it
Mm-hmm.
belong to? Because it has to belong to someone. Or it's a locker that no one, somehow the school has a locker that no one has claimed, which sounds like crazy to me, right? But whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He has a weapon in that locker. All right. All right. This is 2009. I get it.
He doesn't have a locking mechanism on the locker. Anybody can just go in, get that like airsoft gun
Yep.
that shoots vampire killing stakes.
So the question is, I want to know how many nerds have been stuck in there by a bully and then just like found this like stake in there.
And then they just emerged like Van Helsing from the pits of hell.
Exactly.
And just kind of like, what the fuck is up, Kyle?
How many times have that locker been accidentally bumped into and opened, and he just has to like, it's his, I don't know where his office is, but he has to just like scramble to the locker and like close it right away.
It didn't look like it was super close to his classroom either.
Yeah. So like,
which was weird.
So many questions. Like around that locker, what happens around that locker? Like who's been in that locker? Who accidentally went into that locker thinking it was their locker on the first day of school and then found a stake?
I have so many questions about the locker-based economy in Mystic Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Just so many questions.
So many questions. Not enough time to talk about it though. But
because now we have to talk about. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but like if one of the Legacies writers who used to write on the Vampire Diaries wants to explain it to me, because they did the same thing this season.
On Legacies, they did. He had his locker.
Explain it to me. Thank you.
Legacies writers, I know you're probably not listening, but like if you are, please
explain.
I just want to know.
Explain.
What the fuck? Alaric and Stefan finally meet.
Yeah.
And boy, is there some intent. It's intense.
It's pretty intense.
They're very both just like, I feel like they're similar people in a way. Mm-hmm. So they, right now, while they're kind of like butting heads, they very much butt heads.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just feel like it's just like a super. I just have the word intensity written down next to the scene.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of intensity.
They feel like two brooding brothers, you know, who just like,
they feel almost more brotherly than. I'm gonna.
You're not wrong. You're correct. They even look more similar than Stefan and Damon do. So you're not wrong. I have another question.
Yes.
When there's a flashback and the boys are talking to their dad, or I don't know, the dad is, I just knocked the mic a little. Okay.
Oh, just hit that bitch.
Yeah. So when they're flashing back, and either the boys are talking to the dad or the dad's just talking, and he's like something about being a you're gonna be one of the founding fathers. How How'd they know that?
Founding family or whatever.
Yeah, founding family. How'd they know that?
Okay, the founding families of Mystic Falls were off their shit. Because A, just the whole concept of founding like Mystic Falls or whatever. But B, they also wear like suits to hunt vampires.
Yeah.
Wild concept to me.
Yeah.
C, they didn't just move.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, right? It's 1860 or what the fuck ever, you know. Land isn't cheap, but land is also like $5.
Yeah. Yeah. So they must be really rich, number one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, did you not see the whole plantation house that they have? Come on.
Yeah. And
they're rich.
And just like there's like so many things. Like if like I get it's a show. It's not real. But also
it's not. Sad.
But also it could be like that kind of like the fact that they said founding family, I was like, that kind of took me out of the moment in a way.
Well, no, I think it didn't actually take me out of it as much because old towns were founded by like 5 families or whatever. You know?
No, I don't the fact that there are founding families, I don't mind. I'm just saying like the terminology of saying founding family, like not knowing, I feel like that's a terminology that a historian would use.
Yeah, now that you made me think about it, yeah.
But not like in the moment you would say we are the founding families of this town, which is why I was like, oh, that's weird. Like it's not a big weird where it's like glaringly weird, but like it's a little weird.
Now that you made me think about it, I'm like, huh. Yeah, that's kind of fucking weird.
I don't know, maybe it's just because I got my history brain on. I took AP US history, you know? So
got that good A push.
Yeah, I got that good A push. I got a good grade on that exam too. So you know, if history wasn't so much reading intense focus, maybe I'd be doing that, but I'm not because I can't do that much reading in a week.
Can we also talk about the fact that Stefan says that Damon left the Confederacy on principle? But like, did he?
Did he? I don't believe
You don't really
that.
feel like you just kind of like snuck that line in there because you're like, oh, maybe making our main character fight for the Confederacy is a bad way to make people like him. This is when they really, I think this episode especially, they kind of like go into high gear on like rehabbing Damon's image.
Mm-hmm.
And they just like,
but do
like,
they do that? But do they do that? They try.
Oh, they try.
Like there's so many questionable things about past Damon.
Past Damon, yeah. It's so questionable.
That it's kind of like they're trying to blame Stefan, but I don't think Stefan did anything that wrong. So it kind of felt like I don't know. I get what you guys are trying to do, but also it's not working.
It's a little the way that they kind of try and rehab Damon by just making him betrayed is a little weird. We'll kind of talk about it when we get done talking about this episode, 'cause there's some other stuff here.
Like also like, and then the whole like trying to rehab him and then make Elena try to see him in a good light. It just feels
she
icky.
just has empathy coming out the wazoo.
And it's like, girl, like stop that.
Take off his shoes. You don't need to walk a mile in them. You can just let him be.
Like you can recognize somebody's flaws and like the bad things that they've done and see that that's not an excuse for the way that they acted. Like what they did is so bad.
God, you just summed it up so well. It's like somebody's past trauma isn't a reason for them to be shitty today.
Exactly. Like, okay, but we'll talk about that more later.
Yeah. I have on here a note. I don't remember when in this episode it was. I think it was around the same point. For some reason, in this episode, I had this note, and I'm just going to read it out verbatim. Or verbatim. Jesus, verbatim? God, who am I? What the fuck? I know we said that my brain was working today, but I don't think it is, actually. I think it's just busted. Verbatim.
I was like, what's that? Then he said we printed on a shirt.
God. My brain's just busted, baby.
Oh, God. That was funny. Okay.
I have written here, comet-based fuck. Okay, Jesus Christ. Let me just take a minute. Fuck. we're recording this episode for once, like while it's still light outside for me. Usually, because it's been winter, so it gets dark super early. So now it's still light outside, so I'm like all kinds of flustered.
You're not in the right mindset. There's too much light while you're trying to like be like in this like enclosed. I'm focusing in on this podcast type of zone.
Fuck. Okay.
You got this.
Fuck. I have a note here that just says comment-based flirting is the only way I want people to flirt with me from now on. If it's not about space, I don't want to hear it. I don't really remember what that's in reference to, but I thought that was like at least like giggle-worthy.
You said space flirting?
It's comment-based flirting. I think Anna flirts with Damon.
Comment-based. That sounds so familiar, but I also can't place who said it. Was something about. I think it might have been Catherine.
Oh, yeah, it was probably Catherine.
Wait, no, it might have actually been Anna. Wait, it was Anna, because when Damon went to go visit her, she's like, she said, it took you so long to notice I was here, and then he said, how long have you been back? And then she said something about since the comet passing or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it was Anna,
like half past comet or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah,
I'm an idiot, but that was at least kind of funny. Also a point that I feel like we need to mention, little tiny Anna is older and stronger than Damon. Mm-hmm. So when Damon tries to like choke her out, she's just like, no, not today.
Here's my comment for that scene. Intense chokehold stare, then like a little arrow. Honestly, one of the funniest scenes in the episode.
Honestly, yeah. Like fucking
they're both like choking each other and just staring intensely at each other. And then I don't know, one of them is just like, I was like, okay, I can't do this. And then you're like, okay, I give up. And then it's just the execution of it all.
It's just, it wasn't supposed to be funny. But God, it was fucking funny.
Really funny. It was like, it's like, just imagine two people just like choking each other and staring intensely just at each other, right? And then one of them is just like, okay, I can't do this. And they're like, okay, I can't do this either. And then they just stop.
Oh my God.
It's like, I know you guys didn't intend for that to be funny, but like those two actors, the way they played through that was comedy gold. It was like subtle.
I think the comedy that came into it though, because Anna is so fucking tiny and Damon's this like tall hulking figure,
that's also
and she's just like, not today, bitch.
Yeah, and also the way that both of them throughout this and next episode are just trying to like outsmart the other.
It's so funny.
It's like a cat and mouse game. It's like,
it's a cat and mouse game, except it's less Tom and Jerry and more Tom and Jerry and Jerry. Yeah, you know, they're both Tom and Jerry at the same time.
Yeah. They're like, I have this thing. Oh, I don't need your help. Okay, now I need your help. No, I don't need your help. No, I need your help. And it's like a back and forth of, I need your help. And then, oh, you tricked me. No longer will I trust you.
It's so fucking funny. God damn it. Hey, Damon was just like making dinner for Jenna at one point.
It's okay. This subplot,
it's like family night, but like
this subplot of
Stefan and Elena weren't there, so like, did he just go over like, hey, my kid brother's gonna be over, do you want me to make some pasta or some shit? What the fuck?
Number one, I still cannot believe to this day that Damon is older than Stefan. He just has younger brother energy. Number two, the fact that there's this entire subplot of Damon just being over at Elena's house is so weird to me, because it's kind of like Damon, Jeremy, and Jenna, right?
Yeah,
all have this like weird dynamic between them where it's like, in a sense that Damon is kind of like the boyfriend in this scenario. He's visiting his girlfriend's family, and it's like, I don't know, bonding with his family. It's just so weird. And then the fact that there's supposed to be like this attraction between Jenna and Damon now, and it's just like, I'm so uncomfortable. Like, I've never
I am
been
so uncomfortable.
it's just like, why? Like, why is he there? What is he doing?
How did he? Here's the thing I really want to know. Like, how did he sell this to Jenna?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, if Stefan and Damon were both over there, I'd be like, okay, sure. You know?
Like,
that's fine.
especially because...
Or if Elena and Damon were there.
Yeah.
But neither Stefan or Elena was there.
Yeah. She just came home and he was just... And I was like, what? What?
He was like making weird eyes at Jenna and refilling her wine glass. It was just strange.
It was creepy, honestly. If I'm being honest. It was really creepy.
It was like he was holding them hostage in a weird way. Which might have been the point of it, you know?
Yeah. It's like... It kind of felt like they were in this family simulator. You know?
Yeah. It reminded me of... Have you ever seen that one episode of Criminal Minds where the serial killer will... go into a family's home like right before they leave on vacation, kill the husband, and then like continue to live with the family.
Oh my god, that's so creepy and weird. I have not seen that. He was
called like The Fox or something like that. Fucked up episode, or like 2 episodes, I think. That's what this reminded me of. It's like Damon's like holding them hostage in a weird way, but now they're supposed to be friends, so I don't know why Damon's holding that hostage. Whatever. He and Jeremy play Xbox 360, and I just want to say the Xbox 360 was a fucking baller console, y'all. Fucking baller.
I've never played on the Xbox 360.
Not a big gamer?
I had Nintendo games.
Yeah, I would have killed to see Jeremy Gilbert and Damon Salvatore.
They should have done the Wii. They should. That would have been more fun. Oh my god, that would have been so much fun.
I want to see those two playing Rock Band or some shit.
Yes.
The founding families played a weird game of telephone with the witch's spell book, where they were just like, it was a weird game of hot potato. Like, whoever had it when you died, good fucking luck. Like, what?
Why? The question is why? Why were you passing around this book? Like, did you guys like? It felt like, you know, in Mean Girls, how they have a burn book. It felt like that. It's like they were like writing out all their little secrets, like who they thought were vampires or something like that, and they're like, why?
Also, wait, hold up. Sorry, I just thought of the timeline and how that doesn't make sense, does it?
What doesn't?
Because
you're a little close to the mic, B.
Sorry. I mean, okay. I'm really not. I'm just kind of cupping I'm just yelling right into my mic.
Oh, okay. That's
sorry.
Is that for dramatic effect? It's fine.
Yeah. I also just I accidentally. Okay. That timeline doesn't make sense, does it? Because they didn't know Emily Bennett was a witch during the time in which they were killing all the vampires.
There's so many things that don't make sense. Like,
when did they know Emily Bennett was a witch? And when did they kill her to get her spell book? If it wasn't... Did they not know that all the vampires were under there?
But there's literally so many things that don't make sense. One thing, I hope it gets explained later on, but if it doesn't, this literally doesn't make any sense. Catherine turned Stefan and Damon, correct? But then also Catherine gets captured by these people in the towns.
No, they say in this episode, Anna says that like she charmed a guard to get away or something.
Yes, but Damon didn't know that. Damon did not know that. So then my question,
I think the boys, she kept feeding them her blood and then making them forget about it so that when they did eventually die, or when they died like in the madness of that night, they would be turned into vampires. I think that's how that kind of works. I think they explain it next episode, but I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Okay, because to me I was like, this makes literally no sense. When do they turn if she's already captured? Okay, that makes sense.
God, that fucking spellbook thing really fucking gets me. Like, here's the question. If the founders of Mystic Falls, if the founding families knew that... If the founding families of Mystic Falls knew that all the vampires were in the church and that they were saved, why would they bother to keep the spellbook? If they didn't know that information, why would they keep the spellbook? And if they did know that information, why would they not have hired their own witches to work it out, you know?
Yeah. Like, make sure that they can never get out.
Yeah, or make sure that, or like find a way to go in later and then burn them all up or what the fuck ever.
Yeah. Well,
like that just like doesn't make sense to me. Like they just completely dropped it. They're like, all right, I draw the like I can't deal with like slaves being people. I cannot deal with the homosexuals, and I cannot deal with vampires. Witches though, y'all are good. Like what?
Yeah, it's like
It's just like it doesn't
and
track with me.
also didn't in like Salem witches were being burned even though they weren't like real witches.
Oh yeah.
So like
The like grain fever, whatever it was, yeah.
Yeah, so then what were y'all do? Y'all were just okay
And
with
also
that?
the Bennett family came to Mystic Falls by way of Salem and by way of Emily Bennett. But did Emily Bennett die in that night where, like, how did the Bennett family continue on? Did Emily have a sister? Like, there's just so many questions that I have involving this specific, like, this night, right? This night specifically is just so many questions for me. Like, I'm gonna need to get a fucking conspiracy board and some red string, and I'm gonna work it the fuck out, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's
why would they keep that if they didn't know? And if they knew, why would they not have continued to work on it? Why would they just drop it?
Yeah.
Like, what?
It don't make no sense. Okay, one thing I do want to bring up that happened that same night is...
Are we talking that night in 1864 or that night in 2008?
1864. Okay, so that night, Stefan and Catherine are doing stuff, and then she goes to bite him, and he has vervain in the system. His father comes in and is like
talked with his dad.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting. Not interesting. I just want to point it out because it's like makes sense that this would be a thing back in that time, right? Time. Yeah, time. Why is that so hard for me to think of?
Why did you just why did your brain just break on the word time?
Yeah. So back around that time, and then he says, I didn't raise my sons to be so weak, talking to Stefan, because of the fact that he had some empathy for the vampires, and he was basically like, I knew when you started like sympathizing with the vampires, like I knew that you knew one, and that's when I started to lace you with vervain, correct?
Yeah, that's effectively what he did.
Yeah, he's just mistaking. We all know he's mistaking sympathy for empathy, right? And I wonder if the empathy that Stefan has for Catherine is like a parallel to the empathy that Elena has for Damon. And it's like, when is it that your empathy comes at the like? It's so weird because like they're empathetic for these vampire creatures because they're like, well, for Stefan, it's that he's in love with Catherine. I don't know why Elena is empathetic for Damon. It don't make no sense. Just because of all the bad things he's done to her and her friends. But like, I just find it so interesting that they're like empathetic for these vampires who like are killing humans, and they're like, I just find it so weird how you can be selective with your empathy. Like, you're empathetic for this person you love, I get it, but then they're also like killing innocent people. How are you not empathetic for those?
Fine line.
Like, yeah, like it's like I don't know. It's very interesting the way they try to handle that.
Yeah, it's such a fine fucking line, and also like fucking Giuseppe Salvatore, worst fucking name of all time, dude.
It reminds me of a book
Salvatore?
I read. It reminds me of a book I read when I was like in middle school, and they decided to name one of like the older like father figures Giuseppe, and I was like, oh, interesting.
Giuseppe.
Interesting, I guess.
Giuseppe, man, Giuseppe. Just like, what the fuck? I have two notes that come right after each other. And the first one is Bonnie played him. And then the one immediately after it is Bonnie got played. So that's pretty much Bonnie's whole storyline.
Yeah, but also I still don't understand. I still don't understand why Bonnie is on this date with this literal adult.
Because she's fucking stupid, dude.
And she's supposed to be 16.
Yeah.
it makes no sense. Like this
I
whole
mean, yeah, it doesn't. It makes no
this
sense.
concept makes no sense. Like, I get it for the plot wise why you did it, but
Yeah.
also an adult shouldn't be having a date with a minor.
I think ideally they're trying to play him as like 19.
Okay.
So it's like, it's bad.
But
It's still
also,
bad.
how am I supposed to know that? Because all these actors do not look like any of their ages.
All of these actors look like they're 25.
So, like, I don't know. Like, what would I'm speechless. I don't know how old anyone is. I don't get how Damon is older than Stefan. Like, none of these age dynamics make sense, but whatever. Continue with what you're saying about Ben.
Ben does, apparently, Metallica karaoke.
Uh-huh.
You know Metallica? The band famous for having like 7-minute guitar solos?
Uh-huh.
He decided to sing that.
Yep.
Just like, that doesn't fucking air guitar, I guess? Like, how do you vamp for 7 minutes?
Questionable choice. Bonnie should have all just suspected something right then from there.
Yeah, like anybody who willingly is like, oh yeah, I fucking love Metallica, I'm immediately just like,
Yep.
I'm sus.
Yep.
At one point, Elena and Stefan are digging up Giuseppe Salvatore's grave. Elena says, not many girls can say they've done this. And I just want to know what context she means it in. Like, does she mean like there haven't been many like women grave robbers? Or is she like, not many girls have robbed graves as like a date? Or not many girls have dug up their boyfriend's long dead father? Like, I have so many questions. Is it about the gender inequality of the grave robbing industry? Or is it about the fact that it's a very questionable date choice? Elena, I just want to know.
When I saw that scene, the way my note says, just some good old fun times of digging up my vampire boyfriend's dead father's grave. # relationship goals.
Oh my god, relationship goals. I also want to commit some crimes with my beloved.
Yeah, be gay, do crimes, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna get that phrase tattooed on my body someday.
That makes sense.
Thank you, I think. Is that a compliment?
Yeah, it is a compliment.
I guess we'll find out.
It's a compliment. It matches what I'm saying is that it matches your branding, and I agree.
My branding as a person, as a human person.
Yes.
Eventually, Damon catches him because, of course, he does. Mm-hmm. He threatens. He makes Elena drink his blood, and then he's like, "I'll snap her fucking neck. Don't you fucking test me, boy." So and Sam's like, "I'm fucking fine."
Another question that I had. How do you force someone to drink your blood?
You just shove a lot of it in their mouth, man. Eventually they gotta swallow.
Like, biologically, how does that work? Like, when you become a vampire, do you have the ability to force blood out of your body into somebody's mouth?
They always do it by, like, their wrist, right? But, this doesn't make sense, because they don't have blood running through their veins to warm up their skin. Yeah. That's why they use the caffeine. So the blood's not moving, it's just kind of hanging out there.
So the question is, right? Their vampire blood, is it just blood that they've ingested from other humans? And now
or
it's
is
like
it their special vampire blood?
Yeah. What's the biological process to turn like normal human blood that you've just drained from somebody's body into vampire blood? Like, what's that process like? Like, I want to know all the biological means of doing that, and then I also want to know, how do they get this ability to just force a lot of blood out of their wrists into the mouth of somebody else? Because here's the thing as well, right? Yeah, so you can, like, I feel like you can get a lot of blood in your mouth, but that doesn't mean you have to swallow it unless it's like an overwhelming amount. So, like, how do you get that much of an overwhelming amount into somebody's mouth?
If anybody out there is a biologist or like a vampirologist, hit us up on Twitter.
Yes, please let us know.
Because I have so many fucking
So
questions and
many
I would love to
questions.
just poke your brain about it for a while.
So many questions.
If you're a professional, or even if you're not a professional, fucking hit us up
Yeah,
at Afterbite Pod on
if
Twitter.
you have a good theory, hit us up. Like, I
That's
don't care.
fine.
Like, it doesn't have to be scientific at all. If your theory makes sense, I'll believe you. Okay.
And then that episode ends.
Okay,
That's
one last question about the episode.
okay.
At the
Yeah.
end, Stefan hears Anna's name and then
Mhm.
has a flashback to seeing
Mhm.
her get, like, trying to save her mom, but,
Mhm.
like, not being able to. How does he know
Mhm.
that Anna is? I
I
just
mean, I guess like I also had the note here that the 1860s is very kind to the boys. It's not as kind to Anna.
Yeah.
She doesn't look as good in the 1860s as she
Yeah.
does in 2010, you know?
Yeah.
2010 is a much better decade for her.
Yeah, I agree. I
Um
agree.
I mean, I guess he would have just known because her mom Pearl, spoiler alert, ran the apothecary in town.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, like I guess he would just like know her and he'd be like, uh,
But my thing
excuse
is,
me.
right?
Mhm.
The thing is, like, I understand that you could know somebody, but not from like hearing their name in a random context. Of like
Doesn't he
Jeremy just says, "Oh, um
didn't
like
he meet Anna?
did he? I'm so confused. Like, cuz if he
Has
did,
Stefan met Anna?
he didn't. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he has met her or I missed it. He either met her and I missed it, or like I like so they discuss that Jeremy has told Anna about this thing, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
However, it is never discussed like who exactly this Anna person is. It is just assumed that for some reason she's like wants this journal, right?
Mhm.
Um, but I think when they discuss who Anna is or that she wants this journal, I don't think Stefan is around. I think that's what Damon, Jeremy, and Elena, right? Am I wrong?
I don't fucking
I
God, I
think
fucking hate this TV show.
I think Jamie, Jeremy, and Elena had a discussion about Anna, right?
Mhm.
And then Damon went to go track Anna down, right? And then eventually, like, and that's the time when Stefan was with Alaric getting the journal, right?
Mhm.
All
Mhm.
that, all the stuff happens in the episode. He does not meet who Anna is, and then Jeremy says that Anna was like he just
Over and
over,
yeah.
and he just got over like a date with her, right?
Mhm.
And then Stefan has a, "Oh, I know who Anna is. I'm having this flashback." How does he like, my question is, how does he connect that to that specific Anna? Anna could literally be anyone because he hasn't been introduced. This is the first time he's ever heard of Anna in the story.
God, I hate this fucking show.
It's like so many loopholes. Like, why? Like, do you guys not read over your script? It's like, oh, that
They
doesn't make
didn't have a
sense.
story continuity person on this
They
season.
They did it because it's like so many things just don't make sense. Like, just like if you want Dave, like if you want Stefan to have that flashback, you have to introduce Anna earlier on, or have some way of him knowing who Anna is before her name is even mentioned. And like, maybe I could give them, like, maybe Elena somehow like talk to him about Anna talking to Anna being the one that Jeremy told about the journal, but
Also, Anna is a vampire who does hunt vampires because she did just like hand Jeremy decades worth of research.
uh-huh.
She's like, "Hey, vampires exist," and he's like, "No."
And then she's like, "No, they really do. And let me prove it to you." There's like so last episode we already had the question of why, like, Anna being a vampire and trying to convince Jeremy that their vampires exist makes no sense. This week it's that Stefan randomly having a flashback to a vampire named Anna and then saying, "Oh, that must be the person who Jeremy is talking about," doesn't make any sense. It just, like, if I'm wrong and you're listening to this podcast and you're like, "Oh, Stefan did Miss Anna before, and here's the episode and then the timestamp," Please send that to us. But if I'm wrong, because I want to be wrong so it makes sense.
I know. I want this all so badly to make sense, but I also know that it won't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not. Anyway, fuck that episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
I think it was okay. Moving on to the next episode. Episode 14, Fool Me Once. The episode... Jordan. I'm struggling, Jordan.
It's okay. Do you want me to take over?
No, I got this.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm struggling. I just had a giant fucking thing of V8 energy.
That's probably why.
No, I always have one of those when we record this show.
Oh.
Jeremy asks Anna to a party in the woods. Stefan, Damon, and Elena work with Bonnie and Grams to open the tomb and are shocked at what they find. What kind of run-on sentence bullshit is this last sentence here? Stefan, Damon, and Elena work with blank and blank to open the tomb and blank and blank. Like,
they didn't go
what kind of bullshit Mad Libs is this?
They didn't go to, they didn't have a grammar section in high school English, and we can tell.
Anyway, this episode opens with, we should also mention, at the end of the last episode, Anna kidnapped Elena.
Right, yeah.
That was the whole point of, like, Stefan having the flashback or what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
So this episode opens with Elena trying to sneak out of the hotel room with Ben on watch. And it doesn't work.
Nope.
It almost works.
Almost. And then Anna just like...
And then Anna's just, like, standing in the doorway like, what the fuck, bruh?
You idiot.
And then she throws Elena in the bathroom. Once in the bathroom, Elena takes a full minute, 60 goddamn seconds, to notice Bonnie passed out in the bathtub. Yep. Hey, Bunny, how do you not just, like, do a quick check of your surroundings a little bit faster? Even when I walk into my own bathroom, in my apartment, where I know nobody else is, I still do, like, a quick cursory check all around the room. 360, okay, we're good. Let me get on with my business.
Elena...
How does Elena not do that in a hostage situation?
Elena's me in any situation. I'm not aware of my surroundings.
Maybe I just am anxious.
No, you're not just anxious. I'm just really bad at being aware of my surroundings. Sometimes when I'm walking, I forget that I'm like supposed to be paying attention, and I start like, because I go on autopilot and start like thinking and daydreaming, and then I'm like, oh right, I'm supposed to be paying attention to where I'm walking. So I think there's just some people who are just really bad at their surroundings. I'm one of them.
Elena Gilbert is another. Some other wild shit that happens in the first, like, 5 minutes of this episode. Damon says, I mean this sincerely. I hope Elena dies.
And that's when I said, Damon is such an asshole.
That's fucked up, my guy.
That's so fucked up.
That's fucked up.
Another example of your past cannot excuse your current shitty behavior.
Yeah. What the fuck?
And it's just, there's so many, like, why are we?
That's just how is he being, my guy?
How is he being redeemed by that? Like, he's not. He's not. He's a bad person. Really not. Like, there's no redeemable qualities about him.
It's wild. It's
just annoying. Oh yeah. Then I wrote. So anyways, as usual, Damon is the fucking worst. Let's start the hashtag Damon Salvatore is over party 2020.
Let's get that trending. Hashtag Damon Salvatore is over party.
I'm about to tweet that out on the Twitter account of our podcast. When this episode drops, that's what we try to trend.
That's what we doing.
Because Damon Salvatore literally is the worst. He has no redeemable qualities, and I don't know why Elena feels the need to help him out and feel like, oh, I'm so empathetic towards you. Like, girl.
It's even fucked up because she doesn't know that he said this too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she's just like trying to be. I think Elena's genuinely trying to be a good person there, but also it hurts trying to be a good person when you know, like 3 hours earlier, he was like, "I genuinely hope you die." Like, what the fuck?
And here's the other thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of stories out there of men being shit, and
This
then
is one of
women
them.
being, and then women being there and like having to help him become a better person, and like nothing that she does is important. All that she does is to help this character become a better person,
Mm-hmm.
and those storylines are sexist. They are sexist. They're not good storylines. They don't do anything. They're just boring and repeatable. And this is just an example of Elena being a good person and trying to help Damon out. Even though Damon doesn't deserve the help, he's a shitty person.
He
And
also
it's just
hasn't
annoying
been
to watch it go
especially
down.
he also hasn't been especially nice to her at all.
Yeah, and like maybe I could let them get away with it if Damon showed some redeemable qualities, if he showed that he was trying to change, or he realizes he's a bad person and doesn't want to be like that anymore. But up until this point, throughout the entire season, Damon is like, "Oh yeah, that was shit. That was a shitty thing to do. I'm an asshole, and you're just gonna have to deal with it." And that's annoying. Like he's just not a good character. He's not a good person, and the fact that Elena like feels this need to like continuously trying to save him from what, from himself, even though he's like not a good person, like it's just annoying.
It's okay. So there's like the baseline level of nice that you are to people when, like, even when you don't know them, right? It's that baseline
Mm-hmm.
level of just like, I'll be pleasant. And if we get to know each other a little bit better and we vibe, then like, I'll be super nice to you because you're my friend. Damon has never earned anything above that baseline level of niceness. And he might have
Mm-hmm.
actually like dug himself a little deeper there into the fact that like I don't have to be fucking nice to you because he has not been nice to Elena at all. It's
Mm-hmm. He he's
wild.
not only he's not only hurt her friends, he's hurt her. And the only time he showed like any sort of like, I guess, I don't even know if you would call it compassion, is when they're on that stupid road trip and he decides not to compel her. That is the baseline level of like anything ever. Like that's like baseline, oh, I'm not going to compel you. Like that's like so like on the floor of things you could do to like be kind to someone, and for that to be used in this episode as a way of as like a part of a plot point of like, oh, we have like this connection and like we're cool, like that's just so fucking stupid.
It's just like Elena's. Here's the way I'll describe it. There was a super large trend in 2008 to, we'll say, 2018, that 10 years there, where women in
Mm-hmm.
TV, for some reason, especially leading ladies, their main characteristic was that they were nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to be nice. And being nice, just like to everybody, no matter what kind of shit they do to you, isn't a good thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
just bonkers to me that it just doesn't feel earned, you know? Like, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
feel like Damon has done enough to earn the faith that Elena is putting into him. He has not earned that investment. And it's just like, how do I describe it? It's like they don't give. If they had given Damon the chance to kind of like earn that investment that she puts into him, and I'm kind of just using that term earned in like a broader way, right? If he had right backed off of Caroline when she told him to, if he had stopped doing all that other shady shit, that would have been fine. I would have been okay with it, you know, like sure,
Mm-hmm.
okay. You have some faith into him because he's listened to you a few other times and he's like kind of nice sometimes. He has not done shit to earn the kindness that she's giving him, and it feels shitty because of it.
And the thing is, right? You don't you normally have to earn anyone's kindness. You should just be kind to everyone and expect that same thing back. But when someone is shitty to you and has done nothing but terrorize you, your friends, and your family just for a good old laugh and a good old time, there is no reason you have to give them that common courtesy of being nice
And
to
she
them.
goes
And Elena is doing more than
exactly.
that.
She goes above and beyond. Like, I can see her maybe just like chilling and staying at that neutral 0 level, right? But she's like, nah, I'm gonna crank my kindness and compassion up to a 10 because you're a fucking dick to me, and I feel like maybe this will make you stop being mean. Like, that's not how that fucking works.
That's not how it works at all. And that's not how you shouldn't feel. Here's the thing. If someone treats you shitty, you shouldn't feel any type of way towards them. You shouldn't like I don't know, just like there's no need to be that nice to everyone. There's literally like and it kind of like makes me get annoyed at Elena
Yeah.
sometimes because it's kind of like you're like letting this shit slide and it's
It's
annoying. Like have some backbone. Like be be a three-dimensional
yeah,
character.
her one characteristic, I think, more so than anything else, is that she's kind and compassionate. That doesn't a good character make. That's like her only character trait. She's like kind and loyal and compassionate. I'm like, okay, cool. But like, fuck, man. I think this is also kind of where, when I first watched The Vampire Diaries, I really did not like Elena. And I think I started out from the very beginning not liking Elena. I think this is kind of why. She just kind of gives and gives and doesn't ever get anything in return for it. And it makes me hate her more than I hate him. But I do hate him a very large amount. Let's not get that wrong.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't like make her feel like a good character because she just kind of like gives it.
She's not she's like it makes her less of a likable character. And I feel like there are other qualities of her when she's like either with Stefan or with her friends Caroline and Bonnie that I enjoy, but it's like her interactions with Damon to me make no sense. And it just feels like it's just the worst part about her.
Yeah. It's just I want to like Elena Gilbert so bad.
Yeah.
But the writing makes it so hard.
They've just written her really badly and it's a shame. Because the thing is, like it would be so much better, so much more like empower I can't say that word, empowering. Yeah, it would be so much more empowering. It would be like so much more real, right? For her to be this nice, compassionate person to her friends, her family, it would be so cool to see her like grow a backbone in sort of a
God, I
sense
wish she
and
would.
just F Damon's like day. Just like mess with him, like be like a little more like um not necessarily like sassy with him, but being like a little more like I guess like aggressive in some sort of way towards him and like just like not take his shit at all. That would be like because then it would be like, oh, she's this you can tell that she's a nice, compassionate person when she's with her friends and when she's with her family, but when someone like messes with that, then she like goes ahead and is like, I'm no longer gonna be that type of person anymore. And I want to compare this to Bonnie, right? Who who's like there for Elena and is a nice, compassionate person to Elena and Caroline, right? But when Damon messes with her, she's like, F you, do not talk to me, right? When Stefan is kind, like when she's wary of Stefan, she's wary of him. But then she realized Stefan is a kind person and is kind back to him and is willing to like do things for him, like in this episode where they try to like lift the spell so that he can exit, right? So that Elena and Stefan can be together. She's willing to the thing about Bonnie, which I wish also showed up in Elena, is that she's a nice kind person, and she's willing to do anything for her friends and is willing to stand up for her friends. And it doesn't seem like Elena is willing to do that, because Damon has done things that are bad towards her family and her friends, and it feels like she just lets it slide and does not stand up for them in the way that they should be stood up for.
It's just like it's why I feel like this is going to be controversial too, and it's kind of looking forward into the future, but I feel like every other character on the Vampire Diaries had better character growth than Elena did, because Elena started out forgiving everybody and being nice to everybody, whereas like you compared it to Bonnie, right, where Bonnie started out being nice to everybody, and then when people fucked that up, they fucked it up and they had to earn it back. It's a chance for character growth on both ends. Here, you're already giving Elena, you're like pushing a fully formed just person into the world, and then like the world just interacts around them and like doesn't change them at all, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just so frustrating.
And they could do so much cool stuff with Elena. The fact that her parents are dead, right?
And the fact that she's adopted, and the fact that she's already like, she's a doppelganger. There's so much going on with that girl, but she's just nice to a fault, and that's her only characteristic.
When Damon threatens the life of someone that she loves, right, it doesn't make sense that she forgives him, because she like knows what it's like to go through death like that and to lose someone that you love and to have everything ripped away from you, right? And like she knows those things, so it doesn't make sense when Damon does those things to her,
and she's just like
friends and her family.
Sure.
Exactly, because it feels like she should have like this more emphasis on the weight of that life has that Damon clearly does not have.
That's a really good point. Like that's I think kind of why Elena feels so one-dimensional, is it feels like the things we know about her and then the character that we see that she is doesn't match up. It's just
God. There's so much that could have been done better.
I wish I could like Elena Gilbert, but I don't really.
Yeah.
And that's really sad, actually, because I really want to like her.
She's just really boring.
Yeah.
She's boring, and she doesn't do things that make sense for her character.
It's just wild. We've been talking about this for like 20 minutes. We gotta
we gotta move on. Okay, can we talk about Caroline?
Can we talk about Caroline and her mini prepared speeches? Because I would like to prepare. I have a speech prepared about Caroline Forbes.
Oh my god, I love her.
Caroline Forbes prepares like 5 speeches, and they're all so fucking good. And I just really love Caroline Forbes. That's my speech about Caroline Forbes. Thank you. I'll be back here at the same time next week. Thank you. Stefan rescues the girls from where they are in the hotel room by just like opening some windows.
That annoyed me so much. You don't understand how much that annoyed me.
I think I can tell by the sonic sound you just made.
Was it that easy? They just had to open a curtain. The girls couldn't have figured out how to do that themselves.
It's wild, too, because as long as they were standing in the sunlight, he couldn't get to them. So if they had opened that and, like, worked together, they would have been fine.
Bonnie is a witch.
To be fair,
she should have been able to.
She doesn't know how to do witch things yet.
But she does, like, she knows that if she thinks about conjuring fire, right?
Yeah, she could have set him on fire.
But here's the other thing. She could have just been like, okay, I want, like, she knows that if she wants something, she could kind of make it happen. So the least she could have done is, like, try to want to open the curtains. You know what I mean?
Get some fucking airflow in here, Bonnie.
Or when like she was out there in the light, when she was like coming in, she could have like taken that curtain and ripped it open. No, they needed to have Stefan come in to open up a door and open some curtains. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I know y'all did not just write that down. Stefan enters the room, opens the door, and opens 2 curtains to save the girls.
He saves the day.
God
fucking damn it, I hate this show.
This show's so fucking annoying sometimes.
Another fun point here though, Stefan actually got invited into Graham's house, which I really like.
That was cute.
I like that.
You know, their little,
because they had like that little like, mutual respect thing going on earlier. Mm-hmm. And then now he's invited into her house, which means that she trusts him. Sheila Bennett also fucks up Damon a little bit. gets that
And I
good
love
brain
that.
hemorrhage going. I think that's how they describe it. And just
Thank you, Sheila.
thank you. We love
Sheila,
you.
I love you.
Love you. I also I have noted down here the shot of Ben cowering in the mirror while Anna sits in that chair in the sunlight. Wow, women are so powerful.
My exact reaction. I was like, wow, they really did that, huh?
Women are
like,
so powerful.
The way that this show flips on their women, like sometimes they're so powerful and then sometimes they can't open a curtain.
You're honestly so right. Elena Gilbert versus curtains.
This show.
There's a party in the woods again, because of course there is.
There's always parties in the woods, apparently. That's where all of the parties
the
happen.
boys are chugging tiny ass red Solo cups. Hey boys, be more impressive next time. That's weak as fuck, my guys. That's fucking weak sauce.
Also, okay, later on, while they're in the woods, they are preparing to do the spell, to get some fire going, you know? And they did earth, water, fire. And I was like, is this the beginning of the Avatar, The Last Airbender?
I actually kind of really like that though, because it's kind of interesting, like a little peek into how magic happens in the Vampire Diaries universe, which is one of my favorite subjects, because it's the way that they do that spell and the way that that spell eventually breaks is so fascinating to me. And I just really love the mechanics of stories and like mechanics of forces within the world and how they work. That's one of my favorite things. I don't know why, I just fucking love it. The way that they use the elements as sort of like I guess kind of like a amplifier to the magic that they kind of use is kind of the best way to put it, I think. I just really like that. God, I really like magic.
That's so cool.
It's fun. Matt also at one point says to Tyler, like, Caroline might be a little clingy. Yeah, no fucking shit, Sherlock.
Matt, that was a shit thing to say. How fucking dare you say that about her behind her back?
But then also, Caroline unintentionally saves the day. She gives another speech, and then Matt's like, I get you. Okay, we're good now.
And yeah, like, oh, that's cute. But also, Matt, like, that was a shit thing to say behind her back. And then as soon as she's like, oh, like, this is why I did it, you're like, oh, it's okay now? Like, you're gonna talk shit about the person you're supposed to be potentially dating to your friend. And like, oh, you were right. And then right as he goes away and she like is right back in front of your face, you're like, oh, sorry, I was wrong. Like, come on, dude. That was a shit move.
Grams at one point says, I'll be fine, after using all of her magic life force to open up that door. Which, okay, we should probably mention that. Okay, fucking... we totally skipped over the main part of this episode. Grams and Bonnie open up the door by doing the absolute most. The vampires and everybody, Damon, Stefan, and Elena go in there. Anna also goes in there to rescue her parents. She was gonna take Jeremy in there with her to wake her mom up because apparently like Pearl can only be woken up by like Gilbert blood or whatever. Which in that case, how does Elena's blood wake her up?
Because she's not a Gilbert.
She's not a Gilbert. More on that later. We'll put a little pin in that one. We'll go back to it in future episodes. So it's fun that she was gonna take Jeremy to meet her parents, just like not in the way I think Jeremy was expecting. So that was always fun. But spoiler alert, Catherine's not in the tomb. What? She's been out the whole time.
And then Damon learns he's been left behind like a little baby.
Yeah, Damon got abandoned as fuck. She was actively avoiding him for like 154 years. Fun.
I wonder why.
So, like, I almost feel bad for him. Like, imagine getting swerved that hard. That's just like getting ghosted to a whole new level.
She was like, "I actually don't wanna be around you at all. And instead of telling you this to your face, I'm just literally just never gonna talk to you again, but make you think that I'm dead."
God, imagine getting swerved that hard.
That's like literal
Hmm.
ghosted. That's like 100% literal ghosted. Like, oh, I thought she was a ghost. Like, I literally thought she was a ghost. And then, nope, just avoiding you. Sorry.
Sorry, bye. Um,
Bye.
so they figure all that out. Eventually, Jeremy and Elena make it home safe and sound, as they always do. And Jeremy does the sweetest thing he's done is he's like kind of waking up from a concussion, and
Hmm.
he like apologizes to Elena. He's like, "I didn't have that much to drink. I'm sorry. I'm such a mess." And I'm just like, "Oh, sweet boy." Just
You really have turned over a
he
new leaf,
really
huh?
has, and I just thought it was a very sweet moment. I literally have in the notes, Jeremy Gilbert, my sweet sweet son. And then Jeremy Gilbert does my favorite thing. Jeremy Gilbert goes on to the search engine Bing because it's 2009 and Bing paid a big bucks for that. And he searches one word: vampires. That's
Mhm.
it. He pulls a he fucking pulls a Bella from Twilight and just searches one word, even though Anna already gave you all the fucking research, my guy. Did you just forget that?
It's
Although he did just have a concussion, so he gets a pass for now.
But also, your father, you clearly now know, was a part of a founding family that knew about vampires, and your family has a whole bunch of antiques probably.
But
But the
Jeremy
first place
doesn't.
you go to is Bing.
I mean, I get that, but also, like, Jeremy doesn't. He doesn't know that the founding families fought vampires. You know, he doesn't have the knowledge of that
Okay,
night in 1860, whatever.
but he knows enough from reading the journal, right? And thinking that there were vampires and then being convinced that, oh, they're not vampires, they're just like a allegory
Homosexuals or
for
whatever.
like
The fears of the time.
that's what I wrote. That's what I wrote on
I
my
know.
notes. And um then he has that information. So now that you know that vampire is actually real, you're like, you should probably think, oh, Anna told me that, and also I was with Anna. She's the one who I somehow got knocked out around her. Like, I feel like things should start
I
connecting,
know.
you know?
I'm giving him a pass for just this once because he has a concussion. Just this once, I'm giving
Okay.
you a pass, Jeremy Gilbert.
Alright.
Grams.
Are we gonna talk about
Let's talk
the
about
last
this
scene?
last scene here. Grams
Okay.
used all of like her force and magical energy for that
Hmm.
spell, and at the end of the episode, she dies, and
Rip Grams.
Bonnie finds out, and man, that
Hmm.
scene actually kind of hurt. Like,
Yeah, it's both cheesy and cruel.
I think the Cat Graham part, Bonnie's part, she worked
Hmm.
it. She
Yeah,
was
she
fucking
did
working
that.
it.
Yeah.
God, she
The
did
the
that.
it 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 wasn't even only like that, but then the music was like swelling over it, and I was like, "Fuck you guys!" Like, "Oh my god!" And then they just faded to black, and I was like, that scene felt like it could have gone on for another
I
minute,
know. It was just
and I
like,
would have been,
oh,
and I would have been, still been watching.
it was a very
Like,
like. I don't say this often, but it was a very well done scene. It's
hmm
like, oh, that
yeah.
hurt, man.
I was like, really, y'all did that to me, really? All right, I see how it is. See how it is.
And then it is revealed that the
Mm-hmm.
vampires in the tomb took the blood that Damon just like kind of threw around there in a temper tantrum. And now,
Mm-hmm.
since Grams is dead, the seal is broken, and the first
Mm-hmm.
vampire from the tomb emerges.
Whoa.
And wow, honestly, like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Whoa. So now we have. So I think this was a good place to end because there's a looming threat of all those vampires that are down
Like
there.
26 or
We also
whatever.
know that, yeah, we also know that Catherine is alive and is out there, And it's very likely that she's the other oh wait, no, the vampire who turned Logan was Anna.
Correct.
So we know that. But now there's like also she's out there. We don't know where she is. We
She's
don't know what
bound to
she's
turn up
doing.
at some point here soon, you know? She's bound to turn
Yeah.
up soon.
There's just like so many things that have to now be addressed.
It's just so good. Ugh,
Yeah.
so good. Can we talk about the
Good episode.
magic here for a little bit? Because I really kind of fucking love this concept that they introduce.
Yeah.
In that, when Emily Bennett originally made the spell, she linked the power, she drew her power from the comet, which is, and then she drew it from the comet and the crystal that she has. So therefore, she linked the power of the spell kind of like not to herself, but to the comet and the crystal. So like you could find and do things to break that spell, right? Whereas it's a different approach than Graham's takes, because Graham's just links the spell kind of, she doesn't link it to anything tangible. So she just, I guess in turn, kind of like linked it to herself. And so when she passed away, that spell also kind of faded away, and that's kind of what allows those vampires to get out. And I really love that concept.
I was kind of confused as to how the vampires got out, but now that you've explained that, I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah, doesn't it? Because in the Vampire Diaries universe, I think those like events of those like cosmic events are called like Nexus Vorti or something like that. But it's just like when the Earth kind of gets a jump start from something cosmic, right? Like that comet. And so like you can link, I guess, spells to certain events or certain astrological things, or just like sigils, like symbols on the ground, stuff like that. You can link that. You can link spells to like things, is how kind of my understanding of it works. And so Graham didn't link that spell to anything. So it just linked to her.
Because she didn't have anything to link to.
Yeah, right? She didn't like do any symbols or anything. She didn't like put it into like a necklace or a fire or something.
And I think that's also interesting, because then that plays into the like them being the energy source, plays into them breaking down and then putting back up the spell, right?
That's probably like how they did it. And I think it's interesting to look at how Bonnie now kind of has learned magic just by like linking it to herself, kind of like that Graham school of magic. Whereas now it kind of introduces the concept that there could be spells just like lurking around the corner, linked up to like cosmic events or stones or something like that. I just think it's a very fascinating concept, and I really, like I said, love the mechanics of how magic works. Even though they kind of like,
it's very interesting,
they contradict themselves and like write over it, what the fuck ever, it's a shitty show, but I just really like the core of how magic works there. Hi, welcome to my nerd moment for the day. I really love the mechanics of like in-universe, like story things. So Jordan, I'm grabbing out the sticky note so I can write it down.
Yeah.
What do you rank these episodes? We're gonna start with episode 13, Children of the Damned.
Children of the Damned. There was like a whole flashback story going on here,
which was rather good.
And I enjoyed
the flashbacks and
stuff. I like the transitions between the flashback and present day, but I also really liked how it revealed like more about who Anna was, and about how she's like related to Catherine and everyone else who's like a vampire, like the Salvatore brothers, etc. And what else happened?
Damon says the term smutty, so that kind of counts against that episode there.
It does. We have Bonnie on her little date. That not good. I mean, I think overall it had no effect on me. It was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
We have what else happened in this episode? We have them digging up that graveyard.
Grave robbing. Damon at one point like smells Elena's hair while he's holding her hostage, which is kind of fucking weird. The men of the town in 1860. I don't know why I keep saying 1960. They wear suits to go vampire hunting. So it's always that. Jonathan Gilbert is a bitch ass bitch.
I don't know. I feel like for this episode, like, other than the flashback stuff, everything was kind of boring to me. Like, it moved the plot forward, but nothing really interesting happened. So, like, to me, it's kind of like a episode.
Okay.
I think I'm just gonna set it in the middle and give it a 5.
Give it a solid 5. I think I'm also gonna go and give it a 5. Well, nah, I'm gonna give it a 6. Because, yeah, just Damon saying smutty just kind of ruined the whole ass thing for me, you know? It's like when your parents try and give you the talk and you're like, now I'm never having sex ever.
I don't think I've ever gotten that talk.
Okay, well, you're lucky. But
Yeah,
that way,
I am.
Damon saying smutty just ruined the whole episode for me. Just left a bad taste in my mouth. All right, episode 14, Fool Me Once, in which, actually, I forgot to mention, Damon says the episode title. This, I think, is the first instance of anybody saying an episode title within the universe.
Yeah.
Just a fun fact for you. Anyway, what do you rank it?
I like this episode a lot.
I actually do too.
I love Caroline and her little pre-planning speeches. She was so cute.
Good.
I like the kidnapping scene, other than Stefan saving them by opening curtains, because that was the most wild thing I've ever seen.
He didn't even punch the guy, like, not even a little tap. Come on, man.
But I think I like the overall scene of them being kidnapped a lot, just because I like the way it was done, like tone wise and like cinematography wise. It felt very much like a 2000s movie about, like, you know, those like not necessarily like kidnapping movies, but when you're trapped inside of like a house, like one of those like obsession movies when somebody's like stalking you and you're trapped inside of your house.
Yeah, you're talking like a thriller, maybe like a Taken.
Yeah.
Stefan is a really lame version of Liam Neeson.
Yeah. And like I really like that. I think that was really well done visually and like scene wise. Like I really like that scene a lot. What else? I was sad that Graham died, but I really like the magic stuff that was gotten explained more in depth. And like I really liked Bonnie exploring more of her powers, and it's going to be interesting to see how she does more of that now that Grams is dead.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's interesting to see Bonnie kind of like teach herself magic. Like the way that she's now gonna have to be more self-taught than she was. It's just fascinating.
Yeah. And then the one thing I didn't like about this episode is just Elena forgiving Damon.
Just bad.
And like trying to like give in to him what he wants, and like being understanding of him like that. Like I didn't like at all. That was like one of the things that really upset me about the episode. But everything else was pretty good. Overall I think I really liked that episode, and even though that happened, it felt like it happened near the end of the episode.
You could kind of forget it based on the massive amount of other stuff that happened.
Exactly. So I think I'm gonna rank this pretty high and give it like an 8, because I really enjoyed the episode overall, even though that entire thing was like a shit show. But everything else was like really good.
I am gonna give this episode a 9. Nearly entirely for that shot of Ben cowering in the mirror while Anna sits in the chair like a royal douchebag.
Literally, it's so
cinematography. Women are so powerful.
It's so good.
Jordan, I'm really gay. Jordan, I don't know if y'all realize this, but I'm a big fucking lesbian. God, women are pretty. Wow, I've actually given... This is my 1, 2, 3... This is my 4th 9 that I've given out.
Wow. I mean, it's the 4th 9 out of 14 episodes.
That's true.
So, it's a lot, but also not.
Here's the thing that's going to be painful is for my rankings, I have to average all those 9s. With one time, I did give an episode a 3.5. You gave an episode a 3. We haven't gotten out down into that 2 range yet, but it's coming, Lord. Lord, it's coming. Like, maybe not this season, but Lord, it is coming.
Is there an episode that bad?
There's eventually there has to be, right? Hey, we were running a contest on our Twitter account at Afterbite Pod, and here are the winners. Sapphic Turtle, Liz Michelson, Hissy Endgame, and Valentine's. Wow, congrats to those people for winning our contest. Enjoy your stickers. We'll be reaching out to you on Twitter, so have your DMs open for at least one of us, because I swear to fucking God, if I can't get into your DMs, I'm going to lose my goddamn fucking mind. I'm kidding. I love all of you deeply. And please tune in next Friday to watch another episode. We're getting down to the brass tacks here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 more episodes, and then we're done with season 1.
Whoa.
So
That's crazy.
I know.
Insane. Wow.
Thanks for listening.
Thank
Catch
you.
us next Friday when we'll be watching A Few Good Men and There Goes the Neighborhood. Until then, keep up with all of our bullshittery on Twitter at Afterbite Pod. And if you like, leave us voice messages on Anchor. I always feel like that's the thing that I never really quite highlight, and like y'all haven't done it yet. So just like leave us a voice message. If
I
you
really
have a
want a
plot
voice
point.
message.
I really want somebody to yell at us. Also, if you're a vampire biologist or just like a regular biologist, come explain to us how things work. Maybe a biologist isn't the best term here. Maybe for like an anatomy student, if somebody's like a nurse or something, hit us up. I don't know how any of this works.
Please let us know.
We're dumb. I was a film major.
I'm a tech/humanities major, but
that sounds
but
smart.
That's useless here. So
we both have useless degrees, and we don't know vampire anatomy. Somebody please come and help us. Okay, that's it. Goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
And then we're gonna do the thing where I like fade out the music or whatever. And I think us just talking about how I fade out the sound at the end of every episode is like starting to become how we end the episodes.
That's great. I love that. That's branding.